Hello and welcome again to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you are very much welcome. My name is Damilola Oyetola and I film about faith, medicine and lifestyle. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all you need to know about the PLAB 2 exam, basically how to study for the exam and how to pass the exam on your first attempt. So if you haven't watched my PLAB 1 video, you should go back and watch it. It was just uploaded prior to this one. Alright, so sit back, relax, don't go anywhere. And before I go into the video, you know how we always do it now. Alright, so you should watch this video to the end because I have something for you just towards the end of this video. Also, you should like this video, definitely subscribe if you haven't, and share with your friends and family. Alright, thank you and God bless you so much. For the sake of this discussion, I'll be breaking down what I'll be discussing with you today into some subtopics so that you can easily understand, or so that you can be well carried along, that sort of thing. The first will be, what is PLAB 2? So PLAB 2 simply means the part 2 of the professional and linguistic assessment board exams, and that's the second part of the PLAB exams that you need to write if you are going through the PLAB part 2. Do you understand that there are other alternatives for doctors to move into the United Kingdom? However, this video is just focused on the PLAB pathway. All right, I really understand that knowing what to do to prepare for this exam can be quite overwhelming, because I've been through this process and I actually know how I felt. Honestly, this is why information is vital. If you are planning to write an exam and you just get a bit of information that is quite helpful, you see that at least your burdens are going to feel lighter to start with. Do you agree with me? The exam is divided into 16 stations with 2 rest stations. So totally we have 18 stations for the exam, but you're going to get marks for just 16 stations. Does that make any sense to you? And each station is for 8 minutes. I know you are wondering, so how am I supposed to clerk a patient, or even counsel a patient, tell the patient about treatment, follow up and all, just in 8 minutes? Believe me, it's very achievable. It's not something that you cannot do. You really just have to go through constant practice and then you get used to that time limit. Do you get? For each station, you actually assessed based on 3 categories. Okay, so the first is going to be your data gathering skills, then your second is going to be your interpersonal skills, and the third is the clinical management skills. So each of these is divided into 4 marks each. That means the highest mark you can get per station is 12 marks, and honestly it's very achievable to get 12 over 12 in a station. You only need to follow due process. Do you get? To pass the exam, you need to fall above the cutoff category for your exam day, and you need to pass 10 stations and above. So what kind of cases are in the exam? Honestly, it's medicine, and anything you can think of is going to come out. So we have pediatric cases, internal medicine, OB-GYN, we have urology, surgery, basically anything you can think of. There are also some ethical scenarios. We have procedure stations, examination stations, semen stations. We also have prescription stations, which is my absolute favorite. We also have teaching stations. I actually believe that will be all, if I'm not missing anything out. How much is the exam? Honestly, to get the current price of the exam for when you are preparing, you need to go through the NHS website so that you can be up to date. For instance, when my friends wrote before me, they wrote July of 2023, and they paid £904. By the time I registered for my exam for January of 2024, I paid £934. So basically the price is always subject to increase. So for you to be really sure, you need to confirm from the NHS website. How long does it take to prepare for the exam? Give or take, I'll say 3 to 6 months, and that will be dependent on how much time you have to study and how fast you grab things. You understand? For instance, say you are not busy at work and you tend to assimilate faster. I would say 3 months is enough for you. However, say your work is very busy, you don't get enough time to study and practice, then 6 months will do for you. In my case, I actually think I studied for about 5 months prior to my exam. So I started going through the materials in August. However, my real study did not start until September. So I had September, October, November, December, and a couple of weeks in January. And honestly, that was sufficient enough for me. So if you're someone like me that you like to go over things before the exam, not just go through it once, do it over and over again for it to stick, then 5 months is going to be perfect for you to prepare for that exam. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is actually what I consider to be the golden question, and that is, should I go for an academy? Honestly, I won't say go or don't go. That decision is solely up to you. But what I can just say is tell you some things to consider before you decide to go for an academy. Now, you need to understand that going for an academy is not a sure ticket to passing the exam, and that's what a lot of people do not know. Honestly, you just go for academy and you think that's just it, you already have PLAB 2 at your fingertips. Honestly, you'll be deceiving yourself if you think that way. Like I was saying, an academy does not guarantee you passing PLAB 2. Honestly, don't be deceived and don't let anyone deceive you. Now, I understand that in 2024, academies are very expensive because of our exchange rates that is not stable. If you are going for an academy now, then we are thinking of about, say, 800,000, because some of those academies could be about £400, even up to £500, £550, and honestly, that's a lot of money. Although there are academies that are not that expensive, something like Dr. Ahmed's PLAB 2 Made Easy Academy, I know that it's not as expensive as those. And furthermore, I do believe that what an academy is just going to do for you is to help you, get the pattern of the PLAB 2 exam, and kind of guide you and help you to find your structure. Yes, that's the word, provide you a structure. Furthermore, you get to meet people in the academy that can be your study partners, but then you can get them on all those WhatsApp groups too. And then when you do an academy, you get the number of the owner of your academy, and you can always contact the person if you have questions, clarifications, you understand, that kind of thing. Other than that, the hard work is actually in your hands. So going for an academy does not mean that you would not practice or read hard for the exam. Do you understand? Even though you've gone for an expensive academy, you will still need to sit down and go through all the PLAB 2 scenarios so that you can be fully armed before the exam day. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you. So going for an academy or not going is actually not a guarantee for passing the exam. I mean, I know people that did not go for academy and they still passed all 16 stations. I also know people that went to more than one academy and did not do well in the exam. So you get the point. Just finding the balance, putting in the hard work required, and practicing a lot, and having a good planning system is what is going to guarantee you passing the exam. Also, praying to God, if you believe in God, is going to be of good help. What cannot be overemphasized is constant practice. Honestly, you need to practice a whole lot for this exam. I understand that it can be really draining, but then you need to give in everything it takes so that you can get your desired results. Now, the 6th thing is, how should I study for the exam? Honestly, when I wanted to start preparing for this exam, I was so overwhelmed. I got a lot of materials. I didn't even know what to start from. I was just worried and anxious, afraid, whatever word you choose to call it, all right? So I know you might have felt the same way too. So you've seen a lot of materials, you've seen UPS, you've seen 1 acre, you've seen Moshobi, you've seen all these and some others that I cannot remember, and you're wondering, how am I going to read through all of this? How do I even start? Now, I believe that using a whole lot of materials is just going to set you up for confusion and delay, because at the end of the day, let's say you're studying for 3 months and you plan on using all these materials I've listed, then you won't even be able to cover them. Do you get? Now, the best thing to do is to pick one that you believe works for you. in my case, I actually went through UPS. I sampled the 1 acre notes too, and I really just felt like UPS was okay for me. My friends also advised me to use UPS, and I followed that advice, which was very good for me. Now the first thing I did was that I printed out the table of contents of UPS, you get, and basically it actually served as a guide. It helped me to know how far I was with my studying and where I was lagging behind. Basically, when I study a topic in UPS, when I study a case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it. If I feel like I'm good to go, I'm going to put a tick on it, and if I feel like, oh damn, you need to revisit this later, I'm going to put an asterisk on it. That way I know that you need to come back to this before your exam day. And let me be honest with you, that was very, very helpful for me. I was able to keep track of what I was studying. I was able to know where I was lagging behind and putting the extra effort required. Okay, for Seaman cases, I actually use the Mushobi notes. I also use Mushobi for teaching procedure stations, and I watched YouTube videos for that. That's Geeky Mates and also Aspire Mates on YouTube. The other thing I did was for prescription. Honestly, prescription was kind of a little bit confusing for me, and I had to put it off till about a month before my exam. So for that, I went through a whole lot of prescription materials combined with my BNF. So basically, I would read through the prescription material, read through my BNF, and try to correlate them, see if there are any mistakes with that. So after doing all of this, the next thing I did was that I printed out multiple copies of the prescription book. That's the unfilled prescription sheets. And then I'll time myself, give myself 7 minutes, and try to practice and answer the questions. After doing that, I'll send it to my friends who helped me to vet what I had done and would correct me. So after they had corrected me, and then I would take note of the corrections, and then I'll go through that process over again, time myself. That way it helped me to be perfect. Okay, another thing I forgot to mention is that after correlating with BNF and the prescription sheet book, what I did was that I actually tried to write out the answers offhand after going through it. Okay, it's actually not like cramming. Like, I read through it, I was familiar with stations, so I would write open a case scenario, write it down, the dosages and all. That way it helped me. Before we move away from prescription, honestly, my prescription station was my best in my exam. I had 11/12, and 11 because I actually made a mistake and I was not able to correct it before my time went off. But then one of my friends that I assisted had a 12 in a prescription station, and honestly, that's so amazing. So I'm saying this to let you know that if you need any help whatsoever in your prescription station, do well to send me a DM on Instagram at Damilola Oyetola or through my email address, and trust me, I'll be willing to help you, because a whole lot of people helped me during my exam. It actually took a village. I'll be telling you the truth, it took a village, and I'm paying it forward to help other people who are in the same shoes. Another thing you need to do is that you need to practice daily. Even if you are tired from work, even if you don't feel like practicing. That was my own mandate, I should call it now, for that exam period. I just told myself, damn, you need to give it all it takes, because if you don't give it all it takes, then you might need to take this exam again. I'm dropping bars for you, but honestly, that's the truth. So whether I'm tired, I'm not feeling like it, I must present every blessed day. So I had this FY2 group on WhatsApp where I was presenting daily. I think we started from doing 6 cases per day. Later we'll move to 8, then 10 cases per day. Then we'll move to presenting twice per day. That's in the afternoon and in the evening. And honestly, that was really helpful. Now, when you're going on groups to present, you'd actually be doing yourself a disservice if you just go in there to just listen to other people, and you are also not talking and presenting for people to vet you and actually build up your confidence for the exam day. You'd also be doing yourself a disservice if the only thing you do is you just go there to present only your own case and then you leave. you'll be shooting yourself in the foot. What I think would be the wise thing to do is you go through all the cases you are presenting for that day, not just your own, and then you present your own too. That way you know that you are not just doing one case for that day. You are knowing all the 6 cases or all the 8 cases or all the 10. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, and that will give you speed. Honestly, when I was preparing for my exam, I went from doing 6 cases per day, 8, 10. Sometimes I was even doing 14, and I was going at a fast pace, and that helped me to go through the UPS more than once. I think I went through UPS 2 times. There were even some cases I went over 3-4 times, and that's not a lie. I just felt like, oh, I'm not so confident in this, so I'd go over it over and over again. Furthermore, apart from my WhatsApp group and my personal study, I had this Telegram group by Dr. PLAB 2 Made Easy, where I used to just tune in to listen to their discussions on Mondays and Fridays. Okay, that's a very big group, and after presentation, Dr. Ame would basically correct us and give us tips, and even give us some positive talks to improve our confidence for the exam. Also, I would want to implore you that don't just jump into whatever study material you want to use. You need to familiarize yourself with the structure first. So there's one material, a PDF stuff called PLAB 2 approaches. I'd want you to actually go through that first before you start your reading. So it's going to tell you what to expect for the exam, the various scenarios that can come out, and the structures, because you see that by the time you are going from pediatrics, you are doing PAMGUDU, and then you go to O&G and you find that the structure is a bit different, and then you go to psychiatry, you see FAMISH, you go to ethics, you see that it's a whole different approach, you go to Breaking Bad, you see it's also different. It could actually be quite overwhelming, but if you've gone through the PLAB 2 approaches earlier, I believe that you're just pouring water on the floor, and it's going to be much easier for you. You understand that? Another thing I would want to employ you to do is to do mocks. Honestly, that also cannot be overemphasized. So your mocks is basically letting you know how you're going to be doing on the exam day. For me, I think I did about 4 mocks before my exam. I did 3 from key points, and then the FY2 group gave us 3 mocks too, although that was just about 8 stations, but believe me, it was quite helpful too, because all the emotions you are going to feel on the exam day, you're also going to feel it on your mock. You are going to see how you're going to be on your exam day, and you get the corrections that you needed. All right, so I forgot to add that I did Key Point Academy, okay, before my exam. I wasn't going to do an academy, but my parents and loved ones were just like, just do it, just in case, okay? So that was what made me do it at that time. So when you do that Key Point, you get 2 mocks with your academic package, so 1 online mock and 1 physical mock. And then during my set, Dr. Peter was saying that if we invite people to join the academy, then you get to have an extra mock. So I actually invited people and they paid for the academy, so I got an extra mock. That was 1 maybe 3 for me, and it was really helpful for me too. The 7th thing is, what should you expect on the exam day? All right, the first thing I'm telling you is that you need to wake up early and get to your exam venue on time. Don't use African time. If you're asked to come at say 8 or 11:30, ensure that you get to your venue on time. And the only thing you're actually going to need is a means of identification, which is your passport and your booking confirmation. That's not the day to be carrying your heavy backpack around and you trying to read. I mean, you've been reading all these days, you've been praying, and now is the time for you to show. It's show day, like show off what you've learned, and waiting for your good result and trusting God to crown all of your efforts with good success. Okay, when you get to the exam venue, they're going to give you a place to drop your belongings. You take your passport away from you till after the exam. Then they're going to give you a tag that you're going to wear. Now the number on that tag is going to be the number you're going to start from. Now you need to pray that you don't get to start your exam from a rest station. Now for the exam, there's something Dr. Ame used to tell us, and I think it's quite vital. Let me just tell you, once you are done with your station on your exam day, forget about it and move on. Trust me. Because by the time you start thinking of the previous station in your current station, then you won't be able to give your all into it. The other thing is that don't start marking yourself thinking that, oh, I didn't do well. The truth is, you're not GMC, you're also not the examiner, you don't know the marking scheme, you don't know the things they are looking for in that station. So it's not in your place to judge yourself. The thing you need to do is move on, forget about it. Don't carry any baggage into the next station. I'll use myself as an example. So my 15th station was my seaman station. I had asthma. I knew I did not do well. I was only lucky that my seaman did not die, but I knew I failed that seaman station already. So I went into my 16th station with that sad mood. So my 16th station was someone that had ACOS senilis, but then I didn't read the instruction very well. The question said that she had a cholesterol test done 10 years ago, and I assumed she did it recently because I didn't read well. So I went to the station and the patient was asking me, oh, so she get a fat check? I was like, no, because she did it recently and it was normal. And for that station, I got a 7/12. I didn't fail, but you get my point. I could have done better if I was just calm and read well and not thinking of that same station that I didn't do well. Also, one of the stations I got was a learning disability station, and the guy was just difficult. You know, when you're talking to someone that's a disability, you have to go over and over again for the person to get you. So my time was going, and I just felt like I was so disorganized, uncoordinated, and I was thinking, oh, that means you failed this exam. So I was really you failed this station, sorry. So I was really very sad, and I was just telling myself you failed. In fact, after the exam, I got home and I was marking myself. That station, I just put a big X on it that you failed it. But guess what? When I saw my results, I had a 10 in that station. So you get my point. It's not in your place to judge yourself. Give yourself grace. You've done this station. Forget about it. Move on and trust in God to help you. All right, that's the only thing you can do.